Hello everyone, we are from the first group and we are going to deliver our analysis related to the introduction of Vivit Wijayanti's thesis entitled The Color Transition Symbol Seen on Lowry'S The Giver. Before that, let me introduce our group consists of Munna Samsia, Normala Putri Adzkiya, and Krisna Novendra. Firstly, let we explain about the general definition of introduction. So, according to Zepernik 2015, he stated that introduction research provides multiple purposes. It presents the background of the study, introduces the topic and aims, and gives an overview of the paper. Here are 4 subtopics that should have in the introduction study or research. We also used to analyze the introduction of Vivit's thesis. Those subtopics are first, background of the research question, research objectives, and research significance.
Okay, next, background of the research. The first is stating the general topic of the research. One of the creation from prehistoric era is that humans use color to express who they were. The general topic is the use of color for communication. And the second is introduction, the literary works that is analyzed. Furthermore, a similar case also occurs in a literary work entitled The Giver. So, the literary work analyzed is The Giver. And the last is providing the previous studies with similar focus and object. In a thesis have 3 previous studies there are. The first is by Ratri Nugraheni Permatasari entitled The Utopia Ideal of Society as Represented in the Condition of Social Setting in Lowry'S The Giver. And the second is Fadila and Dewi Meirasawati entitled Deconstructing Human Beings Nature in Lowry'S The Giver. And the last by Laura Catherine Latinsky entitled Language in Utopia Societies, a study of works by Le Guin, Atwood, and Lowry.
Next, background of the research also provides the theory from the experts that is used in the research. In her thesis, Vivit used Roland Barthes' semiotic theory to analyze the color symbols in the giver. And then, background of the research also shows what makes the research is different from the previous studies. Vivit provided several previous studies with the same object. The novelty of her research is that this thesis used Barthes' semiotic as the main literary theory and the theory of symbol and psychology of color as the supporting theory. Lastly, background of the research also contains a conclusion. So in this paragraph, the researcher must restate again the focus analysis, the research questions, the research aims, the research objectives, and the theory in one paragraph. And Vivit compiled the conclusion in her background as follows. First, she restated the research objective as you can see on the screen, and then re-explaining again the general topic of her thesis, and then lastly retelling the theory used in the research. Next, research question. Research questions are the focus of the research. Hence, we have to make it accurate and clear to define the research question so that we are able to find the answer in a focused and clearly way. Usually, the number of research questions in a research are like only 1 or 2, and then the research question must be the basis of the research which the research seeks to provide a response to, and then must clearly state the focus of the investigation in the research, and then not be answerable with a yes or no response. And then, why we can say that the research question contains the basis of the research? Because we can see it on the title and on the thesis paragraph of the research. As we can see on Vivit's thesis, the research questions are first, what does the color transition symbolize? This question is clear and contains the basis of the research which will be answered in the research. And then the second research question is, how do the symbols of apple, crowd's faces, Fiona's hair, sled, and the books affect Jonah's action? This research question is not a yes or no question, but a question that requires elaboration.
We come to the research objective. In general, research objective describes about what we expect by the study. So basically, research objective is to specify how the study will answer the aim. Besides, usually research objectives using action verbs that are specific enough to be measured, such as to compare, to calculate, to assess, to determine, and etc. In the research objective, researcher should also avoid the use of vague non-active verbs such as to appreciate, to understand, to believe, to study, and etc. because it is difficult to evaluate whether they have been achieved or not. When we look at Vivit's thesis, there are two research objectives. First is to figure out the meaning of the color transition in the giver. In her first research objective, Vivit tried to analyze about the meaning of the color transition in the giver as the object. Besides, she also used action verb to figure out to describe the expectation of her study. Next, her second research objective is to figure out the effects of the symbols of apple, crowd's faces, Fiona's hair, sled, and books on the action conducted by Jonas. Vivit also used the same action verb, that is to figure out, to specify her study. Moreover, she did not use fake non-active verb. So it can be concluded that her research objectives have been achieved.
Okay, next, research significance. The significance of a study must be stated in the introduction section of your research paper. It states what the benefit of the research will give contribution to the readers and the extent literature and hope that the study will be read by many people interested in the research topic. Uh, and next, as you can see in screen, Vivit theses have two research significance. The first, theoretical significance, deals with how your theory will gain new understanding when applied to your study. In Vivit thesis, this research contributes a profound insight of symbolism in literary work as seen in the color transition and the first five objects that change color. And the second is practical significance in concern with how the result is useful and how it will be applied in the real world. In Vivitasis, this research helped the readers to understand better that something can mean more than how it appears, and then the readers can be more critical when seeing color and sign. And finally, I think it's enough from our group. Thank you for listening.